Chapter 21 Coming Back. Cootamundra is a small country town located on the southwest slopes of New South Wales. In those days, it had a population of about 6,500. It was hot in summer and cold in winter. My father worked there on the railway. Before that, we lived at Junee, and before that we lived at Tocumwal on the Murray River where I was born. Those places were all railway towns. I spent most of my schooling at Cootamundra, and as happens in most country towns, when you finish school, you leave town. I worked in Wagga and Tumut, both only an hour's drive away, so still being a teenager, I went home most weekends. I had a good bunch of mates, and in addition to schooling we played football together and did a bit of drinking together as well. Our entertainment was mostly going to pubs and attending dances at the town halls of Cootamundra, Temora and Young. That's where all the chicks hung out. Later, when they dropped the age to enter clubs, we used to spend a fair bit of time at the ex-servicemen's club and the country club in Cootamundra. So it was inevitable that during the Christmas break I would catch up with these guys. I liked the country club because there were two ways you could go to the toilet, near the front entrance, or down past the bar and out the back. This was important to me as I was never a big drinker. It made me piddle a lot, so I would alternate between the two routes to the toilet, saying good day to blokes along the way. So there we were at the country club, sitting and chatting and having a great time, just like the old days. A couple of the blokes had girlfriends with them, so it was not unusual for the boys to get up and dance. And for those of us who didn't have girlfriends, after a few beers we got enough courage to wander over to the girl with the big tits and ask her for a dance. I was young then, and I now realize it is a mistake to stare at a woman's tits while asking her for a dance. No wonder I got a lot of knockbacks. That didn't deter me though. I'd wait until the barn dance and pick on the most desperate girl there and ask her for a dance. You'd only dance with her for a few seconds anyway, as partners changed in the barn dance, in case you didn't know that. We were having a good time and I was getting plenty of exercise going to the toilet. Then, Chook shouted and placed the beers on the table. "This is yours, Cav," he said, and handed me a beer. The others had to grab their own. Fatal mistake, Chook. He forgot that I was almost a fully trained killer. I noticed things. Why would he hand me a beer, yet not hand the others their beer? "Aha," I said. "You can't fool me, I'm not drinking that beer, it's full of slops." They all burst into laughter. "No, Cav, the beer you've just finished was slops," said Chook. There was plenty of laughing, hollering and leg slapping, all at my expense. You see, I had form in drinking slops. Prior to my army service, when we were out together and the boys would get up and dance, I'd finish off their beers. They'd come back and ask me where their beers were. I'd respond that the waiter came around and took them away, but the empty glasses on the table were evidence that I was lying. To get me back, they got the barman to pour a middy of slops from out of the drip tray. I'd drink it, not knowing there was any difference, until they couldn't contain themselves any longer and blurted the truth. So they managed to get me again. How stupid am I? Ha, ha, bloody ha. Bastards. I'll get 'em back, one day. Pretty soon I was heading back to Townsville. I got the train to Sydney and then on to Sydney Airport. I was a seasoned air traveller by then. I had flown in an aircraft once before, on my trip home. Prior to that I'd never set foot in an air terminal, let alone flew in a jet aircraft. But traveling with the army is easy. You just turn up at the MCO, Movement Control Office, at the terminal, and they are very helpful. "Yeah, what's up?" "Ah, mate, I'm army, I'm flying to Townsville." "Where do I go?" "Are you a Nashos? Is it my good looks that gave me away? Have you got your ticket?" I show him my ticket. "Just head down to the TAA terminal. See that sign over there with the big letters, TAA?" "Yeah, do the hosties have big tits?" "Fuck off." Soon I was waiting to board the aircraft when I spotted ENC and a few other blokes. Because of the controversy surrounding the Vietnam War, we travelled in civilian dress. We were not allowed to travel in uniform, but our short hair and lack of mutton chops were a dead giveaway for us army blokes. We boarded the aircraft and started ordering beers so we could check out the hosties' backsides as they rushed up and down the aisle. Someone said that if you sit in the aisle seat and lean out a little bit, they brush up against you as they move past, leaving a trail of perfume in their wake. The way they were smiling at us, I knew they thought us army blokes were hot, but they couldn't say anything as the other passengers would get jealous. We landed at Brisbane 1 hour after leaving Sydney. We had to exit the aircraft, go to the seat allocation counter where more good-looking chicks wanted to chat us up, then reboarded the same aircraft to Townsville. More of us army blokes hopped on at Brisbane, so the hosties were even busier running up and down the aisle delivering beers. In Townsville we fronted up to the MCO in a right state and were ushered onto a bus heading out to Laverack Barracks. The NCOs were waiting. PT 0600 hours. Shit, I hadn't had a run since we left. All I did was drink, piss and eat. The bastards would kill us with PT. And they did. A few chundas during PT cleanses the mind, so to speak. It was great to be back.